we are training your all views and knowledge upon its a fresh mind. So everything we are training towards Indian side for the betterment of people like students, humanity, and society. It's a great social service also at the same time you are delivering this lecture.
And you know, it's a pleasure to share, but it is also very useful for me because you know when you think loud, you share something, but you also are driving your own you know process of thinking about the things, and you have noticed that you know I'm exchanging some messages with you also late in the evening, early in the morning. You know some of the things that can be done, and perhaps you know we should give it a try to approach. Yeah.
Yes, a lot of things are being tapped by just discussing. Some things are not by reading, that doesn't come by reading or searching paper or Google, but once you discuss within a second something, the idea comes in a much more bigger way. But your
Yes.
words are blessing for us. It's not like you are not gaining, but we are gaining. Like every words are blessing for our students that they will get benefited.
I appreciate your kind words. Thank you very much. And this is just my humble effort, nothing special. Yeah, I actually forced myself into thinking broader at some point because I was considering, you know, actually last year was supposed to be a sabbatical for me, but because of all these, you know, geopolitical situation, which is quite challenging, it didn't happen. And so all the ideas, all the thoughts are here, and you know, the question is, you know, how to expand and how to share. And of course, you know, the intention is to share with all the international community of, you know, those who are working in this area for the benefit of academia, of students, and you know, society at large. So that's basically my intention, and that's why
and that's the reason that once this scheme was opened in somewhere in 2019 by our government, I approached immediately that yes, I have a person who can come and deliver such kind of lecture, and they allowed me to apply, but you know something happened between this COVID time and
oh, I know it was a disaster
to do that, but that was the only reason.
I know, and
it was approved by national level reviewers, and they immediately approved the project that this is fine. The person who is coming has a knowledge over it.
It's fantastic.
So
and you know, I communicate with Slavy Todorov on a regular basis. I have an intention to visit his lab next year, March, as I mentioned before. And as you told me that you're trying to bring him also on board with a similar effort, and he is very enthusiastic, very positive, and he mentioned another day that let's pray for no any you know large scale disasters, because he said I really want to go and to see what these guys are doing. I really want to have first hand experience. And I told him that, you know, should this happen, I will envy you because I will be jealous of you. Yeah, they have, you know, they have a very different approach to teaching. We do have the course that are some courses arranged in a way where different professors are teaching portions of the courses. Like, for instance, next semester, we have a graduate level course of food biology, and this is where like 4 or 5 professors are teaching only the fractions that you know cover their own areas of expertise, and that is what allows me to visit Slavy in Brazil, because otherwise, you know, it's a teaching non-stop. But they have more courses organized in that way, and that is something that makes him very flexible. Not to not to forget that, they're on the other side of Equator, so it's now summertime approaching for them in Brazil. So it's a different arrangement.
I share your link to him also, and I wanted to have on this platform, but I don't know, because of time frame, and he's not able to join. Otherwise, we could have discussion shortly, but I'm applying for the similar course to here with the Slavi also for next time. If it's sanctioned, then we can have with him.
Right.
So that, he's extending your lecture after bacteriocin.
Right,
so
right.
You are ending on bacteriocin, and he is starting from bacteriocin. So another 10 lecture dedicated on bacteriocin if you win this grant.
Right, and that's what I'm trying to do is, and I think I managed to convince Slavi, because he is one of the, perhaps one of the most publishing now authors in the area of bacteriocins research. But I'm trying to convince him to, look broader, and also, to look at health-promoting microorganisms. And I think so far I'm lucky, with all our efforts that we're engaged in right now. So hopefully it will work. But as I said, I don't know, maybe I will try to see if I can arrange for myself, next year to take a sabbatical, either with Slavia or somewhere else, to share what I have done and what I'm doing with other communities across the globe. So that's the intention, and this intention also is driven in part by the strategic developments at Rutgers University. You certainly know that in the past the university was positioning itself as a research university, but now we have a new trend in the developments with the emphasis very justly placed on education as well, and in particular undergraduate education. And this is the area where we want to expand, we want to develop more. We do have right now numerous 1+1, 1+2 teaching, studying programs with several countries, particularly with China. We have a really significant number of students from China, from Korea, from India. But it's one thing having the students from these countries. It's a different thing to have dual degrees. When, for instance, the student is spending part of his or her time in India, for instance, since we're talking about India, part of his or her time in the US, and then, the courses are confirmed by both universities, and then the student is getting the dual degree, so basically it will be, a diploma from, say, for instance, Rutgers and the university in India, as we have from Rutgers, for instance, and China. Similar approach we're trying to develop now with Brazil as well. In the past, 10 years ago, we've had similar kind of arrangements with French universities, and students from France were coming to us. So all in all, I think this is a very interesting thing to pursue. Yeah. So I guess, after we will finish this course, and if you're involved, and I'm ashamed, I don't know how much you're involved in the education process, to be honest. But if you're involved in the education process, and if you are interested, maybe we can later on discuss this matter with your university international department and with the dean of education, the person who is in charge of undergraduate studies, and to see if we can pursue these kind of things.
I will connect the international department during our Thanksgiving session at that time, in the last of your lecture.
Right.
University, one person, the advisor who is there, would take care of all these things. So I will request him to connect, and your kind opinion will be accepted if possible that time.
Right. I think this is interesting, and this is something that at least deserves to be discussed and considered. And yeah, we will see how it will go in the future. All right. So the time to start, I believe, is now. And,
it's fine. You can start. So, dear participants, good evening. I warmly welcome Professor Chikindas with us, and he has a very informative lecture. We are having a different angle today, the agriculture really. And the name of probiotic, people go only for the animals and other things like health. But their health on the plants or agriculture is very, very least. And you will get really a kind of new information. Over to you, Professor Chikindas.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Wiry. And well, today we're changing the gears, moving away from humans and going to the animals of agricultural importance. And I mentioned the importance of probiotics or health-promoting microorganisms for animals. Of course, those of you who have pets probably already came across some products in the supermarkets, like pet food with the probiotics. But it's broader. It's not just for our beloved cats and dogs and guinea pigs, but also for the animals of agricultural importance, especially considering the trend, the global trend of moving away from antibiotics and harsh chemicals and replacing them with natural and nature-derived formulations where probiotics play a very important role. And I already mentioned on numerous occasions, almost crying on your shoulder, saying that there are inconsistencies in the results, inconsistencies in some trials, inconsistencies in the messages we're getting. Although some of them, many of them, are promising when it comes to probiotics for humans, but still, I was kind of glorifying in a way animals as opposed to humans, saying that they are more standardized, they are less diverse, and it is much easier to follow and to deliver the formulations to the animals because they are much better controlled than humans. So that is why I think, for many reasons, as I already mentioned, probiotics for agricultural needs deserve to be explored, deserve to be developed and implemented. And I will introduce us into the field, and then we'll go through the probiotics for the gut health with just a few examples. Poultry probiotics, then we will touch on the control of animal pathogens, not by killing, but by regulating their activity in the environment, that is worm sensing. We'll then have a few words about aquacultures and probiotics as they can be presented there. And then we'll conclude our today's session on the probiotics for the animals of agricultural importance. I must say also that in this session, there will be a significant portion of the data that I will share with you from the research conducted by my colleagues and with my personal involvement as well. And you already saw this picture before, and in the past I was just trying to give the overview of the probiotics and the areas of their use, like food and feed, supplements, drugs. But today I'm specifically putting this slide on the screen, and you see it's kind of a blob here, so I'm trying to bring your attention to the non-human application. And what we will do today, not particularly in this order, but we'll go through the animals, we'll go through avian applications, we'll go through the aquaculture. So we will not be talking about insects, although I think that application of probiotics in insects is very important. And I'm talking, for instance, about honeybees. I'm not talking about insects as a food, which is a totally different story, which deserves a standalone lecture or set of lectures. Honeybees, which are declining because of the pesticides, because of the chemicals that humans use that polluted the environment with. So honeybees deserve good life as any other creature on this planet, and because they are economically important for us, and also health promoting nature of honey, especially such as, for instance, Manuka honey, you cannot really leave it unnoticed. We're not going to talk about plants, again, because of the time restrictions, but the plant probiotics is another area which deserves special attention, and this is where a lot of work is going on right now. And we're not talking just about the nitrogen-fixing bacteria. We're talking about other microorganisms that can improve the immune system. Yes, plants have some kind of an immune system and can improve their protection against a variety of pathogens. And this is something that we're talking about also with Dr. Tivari. So, changing the gears, going to talk about the major groups of microorganisms in a gut. And I already mentioned it before, I'm just re-emphasizing it, that there are major microorganisms that are present in the environment at all times. So about 90% of the bacteria, Clostridia, Bifida, Lactobacilli, Enterobacteria, Bacteroides, then we have the satellite, about 1%, and they're mainly Enterococci and E. coli, and they're residual, which is below 0.01%, and usually they are pathogens such as Proteus, Staphylococci, and some Pseudomonas strains as well. And of course, we know that some of the microorganisms can colonize, some of them are transient colonizers, some of them can deliver positive function without even colonizing the environment. So good guys, major players. And of course, again, I'm repeating myself, but I need to do it to introduce these groups of the microorganisms. For animal applications, we have lactic acid bacteria, which include Lactobacilli, Pedicocci, and Enterococci that are mainly present. And of course, these three are not all lactic acid bacteria, but the major groups that are explored and marketed as probiotics. Bifidobacteria, and these I'm begging you, keeping in mind Bifida are not LAB, although some authors mistakenly place them into the group of LAB. Spore formers, which I love really immensely for many reasons, including Bacillus subtilis, syringases, Camelotrophosis, coagulants, and some others, and of course yeast. Saccharomyces cerevisiae we're talking about, which is undoubtedly a very important player in the arena when it comes to health promotion. When we're dealing with the probiotics for animals, there are two major areas that should be clearly recognized: husbandry and veterinary. And these are different areas, although to some degree the border is fuzzy, but when we're dealing with probiotics for animal husbandry, we have in mind the preventive measures and the health modulation. When we're talking about veterinary area, it's definitely preventive measures as well, but also treatments. All right, and if we will look at the probiotics for the animals, and you can see I put it here like old challenges and new challenges, and of course they're in quotes for old and new, because how long it will take until the new challenges will become old challenges. This came from the paper published a few years ago, so probably in 5 years from now I will have to remove it. If I will still be teaching and be around, I will have to remove all the new things and just put on the screen the selection of the challenges that are faced by the probiotics when it comes to the animal application. Balance of the gut microbiota, balance of the blood parameters, but look here, obesity in animals, urogenital tract infections, H. pylori cause gastritis, intestinal parasites, and these are new challenges when it comes not only to pets, but also to the animals of agricultural importance, because, and especially urogenital tract infections, because these may cause not just the economical loss, but also we know that, and especially with a small farm, some of the pathogenic microorganisms can be passed from the animal to the handler, and in the big farming scale, the control of the pathogens, the education of the farmers is much better as compared to the control and education of the small size farmers, especially when we have some kind of a environment where people, the family has a backyard where some animals like I don't know, say poultry are being kept to produce eggs and the bird meat. So these are very interesting new and important challenges. So probiotics for gut health is what we're going to address briefly with a few examples, just some examples, and again, not to raise concerns, but also to motivate our thinking, if you wish. Cocktail of microorganisms was used, and you can see the origin, unknown origin, from pigs, from the soil, from the humans. And this cocktail was able to significantly reduce the convalescence time in acute self-limiting gastroenteritis in the dogs. And again, cats, but also the service dogs. Keep that in mind. Now, in this paper, the authors also raised the warning line. We have to be very careful when we're dealing with the spore-forming bacilli, but they didn't ask this question about lactobacilli. So I'm kind of curious why the emphasis was placed on spore formers. Animal-specific effects, enterococci were used to treat dogs and cats, and there was a significant noticeable decrease in the numbers of episodes of diarrhea in cats, but not in dogs. And again, the question is, and you may remember, I referred to this species-specific action. And by species, I mean not the species of the microorganism, but the species of the animal, right? So here is the example. Lactobacilli, 26, 28, 27, 66, and NCC 266, beneficial effects on intestinal cytokine patterns, diminishing number of enterobacteria, increased lactobacilli feces, which means that they are expanding in numbers in the gastrointestinal tract, so we can trace it with the high numbers in the feces. And clinically improvement condition in the dogs. And I put a note and mark for myself. Remember to look at the poultry scheme, diminishing number of enterobacteria, and I mentioned it before in one of our previous sessions that some probiotics may also work, you may remember, decreasing the numbers and in some cases decreasing the diversity. And I said that I don't know if it is good or bad because we don't know about the outcome, how the eukaryotic host really responds to these changes in the diversity and numbers of the microorganisms in the gut. They look healthy and happy, for us, for humans. All right, we're changing the gears and going to talk about the poultry probiotics, and this is where I will allow myself to spend a little bit more time. That is because I was working and still working on the probiotics for poultry, and this is the area where I can probably speak with more confidence, if you wish. And we'll start from the very reach with the data type of the scheme, and I do it on purpose because we need to see what is going on, what is happening there. And as you can see, it's a combination of several different aspects. It's the action of probiotics and prebiotics. And we do know that prebiotics have multiple positive functions, which include the interaction with the immune system of the host, interaction with the endocrine system, control of the pathogens, promotion of the growth of the good bacteria, probiotic, and the resident health promoting microorganisms. And you can see that these kind of interactions are marked on this scheme either with the sign which says that something is arrested or halted or eliminated or inhibited, and with the arrows saying that it's promoting, such as, for instance, the enhancement of the cell growth, the integrity of the membrane structure, or with the short-chain fatty acids, as you can see here, improvement of the bone structure, modulation of the immune system, the condition where we have, for instance, improvement of satiety, so there will be no unnecessary food consumed or feed consumed, and at the same time, you see the improvement of the efficiency of the energy harvesting. So these are some of the things that are pretty much on the surface, and we know how they work together. But as you can see at the bottom, special note, future research need to be addressed the mechanism, understanding of the interaction of probiotic with composition of the microbiota and its metabolism, checking in different production systems. And why is that important? Because, as I mentioned before, some investigators noticed that we have some conditions where we have decrease in microbial diversity with the supplementation of probiotic bacteria. Why is it happening, and what kind of impact it has on the overall health? So far, we don't see any negative, but these, this is interesting point. It be addressed. I will be talking today quite a lot about the bacillus for forming probiotics, and of course, why bacillus? Several reasons for that. Additions, long shelf life in the spore form. They are found in the normal intestinal microbiome, but they're capable of germinating and reformulation in the gastrointestinal tract. And what we see is the trend published on spore forming probiotics in the applications for the animals of agricultural in poultry. Assistance of intestinal barrier integrity, I mentioned it already several times, and it has been shown in model studies on the worm and on other models. They are also controlling inflammatory response to now color involved may increase healthy aging and production of nitric oxide, worm sensing, and peptides, downregulation of insulin signaling, and many other things which are still covered and discovered. And we will see examples again, unfortunately, indirect, but also indicating that use of the spore forming probiotics may increase may increase, for instance, reproduction activity, as we saw in poultry. Again, it comes from our own personal studies. The dearly beloved ones, the two microorganisms that will be often mentioned there. You can see the picture of the bacillus subtilis cells, which I personally think is two microorganisms. Bacillus subtilis Chimera 1933, Bacillus amelia-cephalosis B1895. The Chimera 1933 was isolated from the fermented dairy to have unique Japanese lactobacillus culture, and in reality, we checked several. This one catalog number is given, but we checked several different products manufactured over extended period of time, 1 year, different batches. There was only bacillus and not a trace of lactose. It's safe. I would say it was confirmed in vitro and vivo studies for possible vaginal applications. It produces subtulocin A, and we will be talking about subtulocin A also in the session dedicated specifically for the psoriasis with a variety of activities. You can idle, etc., etc. And these are the things which I already in our vaginal session. It carries genes coding for kinase, and this is a very almost like one of the miracle molecules which promotes cardiovascular health and modulates